Good morning guys, welcome to a brand new YouTube video, episode 5 of the Summer Shred. Today is the 1 month review. We're going to look at the whole month's weight data to see what that's looked like over the past month. We're going to look at progress pictures, see what's happened, and we're going to make some adjustments because that's part of the program. You know, as part of the program I do 4 weeks on a certain kind of principle, and then depending on changes I'll make some changes from the start of week 5 onwards. So first things first on the agenda, gotta go get myself weighed in. Now, weighing in this week, I've experienced both my new lowest weigh-in and my new highest weigh-in. So it's been a bit fluctuating this week, which is fine. Scale weight depends on so many different things. But let's go in there and see what we're weighing in this morning. So normally the weight isn't actually staying on the screen, it keeps on increasing when I pick up the camera. So it's saying to 1.4, but my actual weight, when I step off the scale, I don't know if you won't be able to see it, but it's 200.8. So 200.8 this morning. Right, so we are 200.8 this morning, which still puts me at quite a high level. I'm pretty sure it's still quite inflated because earlier this week I hit my new lowest weigh-in, so I'll put the listings there. And in all fairness, I can't really complain about the fluctuations. This week I've been traveling with work again, so I've had to eat out a few meals. But the issue with eating out is that, you know, you can never really properly predict what's going to be in your food. You can't like weigh it out yourself properly, etc, etc. And I'm not going to be that guy who takes meal preps with me to hotels and stuff. Don't get me wrong, I still want to achieve my goals, and I'm going to, but you know, when it comes to stuff like that, I'm just not going to be, it's not that deep to me that I'm just going to take like loads and loads of meal preps with me when I go away to stay at hotels. It is 6:48. I've got to leave for the gym around 7:30. So let's go ahead and get that physique check done and all of that stuff and pictures, and then I need to eat a little bit before we go. Okay, so physique check, 1 month in, and straight off the bat, I'm not going to lie, like looking at myself in the mirror, I do feel like I am, let me just get this over and done with first. Nice and relaxed from the front. And from the side. And then flex from the front. Ooh, did you hear my stomach rumble then? Looking at my physique, I definitely feel a little bit leaner. I can tell because there's signs on my body. For example, there's a vein on my left bicep, which is quite faint at the moment, and it's obviously going to be faint because I'm just still very early stages of the cut. But that vein normally does like start to show. That's like my first kind of sign of vascularity. And then also, I do have one. You're probably not going to be able to see it on camera, especially like with no pump and no food or anything. But like I've got one that kind of goes up my right bicep as well. They're the kind of veins that first start to come through when I can see that I'm starting to kind of like see some signs of getting lean. So yeah, they are starting to come through. I can definitely see them when I'm lifting especially. So yeah, the signs are there. I'm going to obviously save the analysis again for a little bit later in the video. I need to get myself to the gym and get everything else done first. But yeah, either way, this is what the physique is looking like 1 month into 2025 Summer Shred. Okay, so you pretty much know the drill. This is a breakfast you're going to see me many times on this channel along this series. It is just a plain and simple 100 grams of blueberries, 50 grams of dates, and one of my protein coffees. Keeping things super simple. Time is now 7:12. I'm going to leave in around 15 minutes, so let's get this down me and let's head to the gym. So as you all know, I'm part of the small group PT program here at Unit 7, which is why I don't film, because there might be some people in there who just don't want to be filmed, and that's completely fine. But next week is testing week, which means every 12 weeks essentially they test your 1 rep maxes and stuff, all that kind of thing, which I'm very much looking forward to. I didn't really get a chance to do the last testing week properly in January because I just got back from Bangladesh. So this is going to be my first proper one, which I'm very excited to do. And I definitely am going to try and film that stuff because, you know, especially when I'm lifting a bit more maximally, that's when I come alive. So yeah, I'm going to do my best to make that happen. That was a very rough one today in the gym, but we got through it, survived. Very happy that I kicked my weekend off the correct way. Some time's elapsed actually. It's now 11:29. Finished the workout at around 9. I haven't eaten a thing because I had a few errands to run. And also, I don't know about you, but straight after a workout like that, really intense one, I know I need to eat food, but I'm just not hungry. And I need to let the feeling of, like, you know, having worked really intensely to subside a little bit before my appetite starts to come through. But when I was out running errands, I just felt the hunger just like creeping on, and I'm starving now. So you know the score. It is a Saturday oily fish day. 100 grams smoked salmon, 2 large eggs, all on top of 2 nice big slices of sourdough, 100 grams of cherries, and to say I'm looking forward to this is the understatement of the century. So less talky, more eaty. I'm gonna get this down me and I'll catch up with you in a little bit. You know, you eat a good meal and you just infinitely feel better afterwards. That's how I feel right now. Next on the agenda, I'm gonna chill for a bit, hang out with my dog, and in the next clip, go to the 1-month review in a bit more detail. Okay, ladies and gents, so once again, we are at the whiteboard. Let's go ahead and review the first 4 weeks of the 2025 Summer Shred in a bit more detail. 2025 Summer Shred 1 month review. Hang on, let me turn the lights on. That is better, isn't it? So as you'll know, if you watched the very first episode of the series, my cut is modeled on my own program, which is 18 weeks long. And the first phase of the program, which is 4 weeks long, is known as the Fast 4. Now, the principles of the Fast 4 are quite simple. Once you've set your goals, you want to just like essentially leave as little room for overthinking and variance as possible. You want to really hit the ground running, make sure you're fast for the implementation, and you really want to make sure you stick to it quite intensely for 4 weeks. But how did we get on with that these past 4 weeks? Well, let's take a look. So we'll begin with starting weight, and our starting weight at the beginning of this cut was 90.99 kilograms. Literally a hair off 91 kilo. Ending weight 4 weeks on was 91.08 kilograms. So we've actually gained a tiny bit. I mean, to be honest, I don't really think that's really reflective of my current weight at the moment. I think this week I've experienced a lot of variations. So I'm fairly certain this will drop quite quickly as we move forwards. But that is the reading for today, so that's what we've got to go off of. There's no denying there's a clear, well, very slight increase in weight. But let's talk about that in a bit more detail. So this is the chart for this month's data. And there's a few things you'll notice straight away. The first thing that struck me when I first saw this data, when I charted it, was there's simply too many gaps in this. There's not enough data. I haven't been consistent enough with making sure that I've got data to actually go off of. And yes, there's a couple of reasons for that. Like I did travel a lot this month with work, a lot more than I usually would. That obviously made it quite difficult to me to kind of hit a bit of a rhythm. It caused a lot of variables of my nutrition because I wasn't eating, you know, like home cooked food all the time. I was eating on the road quite a lot. And even though I was trying to make good decisions, let's be honest, it's just not the same as when you're at home with full control over exactly what goes into your nutrition. To me, it's no surprise that any like good new low weigh-ins came after a few consistent days of nutrition at home. Now, I can't lie, I knew ahead of time that March was going to be a really tough month to start my shred because I was seeing the travel building up on my calendar with work. But there was no way I could have let that stop me from starting what I'd planned. Like this was always the plan to start on March 1st. And there was simply no way I was going to deviate from that. I think it's worth mentioning as well that like travel is fine, eating out is fine, that stuff's all completely fine on a cut. But I think there becomes a limit where it becomes a bit detrimental towards the goal, and I think definitely this month's data has been reflected of that for me. There's also not only that, there was quite a few social plans this month which involved eating out again. I'd even go as far as saying, I mean, we're not even at the end of the month yet. Today's the 29th of March. Even up to now, this month, I've probably ate out 10 times, I'd say. So that's 1 in 3 days. And for obvious reasons, that just throws in too many variables. There's no rhythm to my nutrition there. Now, that is a lot more than I typically would travel and a lot more than I typically would eat out. But it is what it is, and that's what's contributed to this month's data. What I will do, however, I'm going to put that chart back up. That's this month's data. I'm also going to put the 2022 first month's data just below it so you can see the comparison. Now, both years, 2022 and 2025, the first month of my cut, I've actually seen an increase, and there have been gaps in data in both months, as you can see. Now, the increase in weight is less severe this year, so, you know, I guess I can take that as a positive, but no excuses. The idea of a cut is to lose. And yes, you can make an argument that scale weight isn't necessarily reflective of losing fat, because, I mean, it's an indicator of progress, but it's not the be-all and end-all of fat loss. But the fact of the matter is, you probably should have seen these numbers going down rather than going up. But also in my last video, you'll see that I compared month 1 to the overall cut for 2022, and there was stark differences between the two of those things. So my job now is to make sure that I can replicate that and make sure that the rest of the data moving forward is moving in the direction that we want it to go. Okay, so now let's look at the pictures. So here is a comparison of day 1 and this morning's photo. Now, I'm not sure you're going to be able to tell on the screen, but I can tell looking at myself in the mirror that I can see minimal improvements. There are improvements, like I can see a couple more like little shadows coming through, a couple more little things on my physique that I would notice when I'm getting lean. The signs are there, but they may not necessarily be visible in these morning photos when I've got no pump whatsoever. Not only that, but there's also things like the fact that my lifting belt in the gym is fitting a lot less snug than it was previously. So that's a sign of progress too. And if we're talking overall, some of the progress, I know it's not been the best month. I acknowledge that, and I acknowledge that it needs to be better moving forwards. The next phase, build 8, which as the name suggests is 8 weeks long.
needs to be a better phase than the Fast 4 was. But I also do have to look at the positives. I actually think, given the circumstances, things could have been a lot worse this past month. It would have been so easy for me to just get like Mackey's, KFC, that kind of food in, but I've been opting for much more nutritious options when I've been on the road. And who knows, if I had have done that, I might have been looking at a lot worse data than this past month suggests. So the question we have to answer now is, how are we going to make this better? So build 8 changes. When it comes to fat loss, there are several tools at your disposal that you can use to either A, increase output, i.e., increase the amount of exercise that you do, get more steps in, do more cardio. But the other option B, you can also decrease the input, which basically means lowering your calories. And for me on a cut, that's what's always served me best. So that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to move from 2750 calories, which is what I've been on this past month, with 210 protein. We're going to reduce by 150 calories, so it's going to be 2,600 calories with the same 210 grams of protein. The 150 calorie drop is going to come from carbs alone. So you understand that given the data as well, a lot of people might say, why are you only dropping 150? Well, bear in mind that we're 4 weeks into an 18-week program. We're literally not even quarter of the way there yet. And this is the reason why I think a lot of people will fall off the wagon a lot quicker than an 18-week program, because they just try and do too much too soon. Yes, I know the data says, but it's so important not to get carried away and get ahead of ourselves here. This is a marathon, not a sprint. So I'm only going to drop 150 calories from carbs. A lot of the rest is going to stay relatively the same. There's not really much room for me to increase output more because I'm already training about 5 times a week. Steps have never been an issue for me. I've always averaged around like 12 to 15k per day. My workouts implement both weight training and cardio. So for me, it just makes no sense to focus on that. It makes a lot more sense for me to decrease my inputs, which is my calories. I am also going to make an effort to be a lot better with monitoring. I think the gaps in that chart from this month really opened my eyes to like how lax it's been with the amount of travel I've had from work. So I'm going to do my best to make sure my calendar's a lot better organised this coming month. And to be honest, other than that, it's pretty much business as usual. I'm not going to lie and stand here in front of you and say that I was happy with this month's progress, but I'm also not entirely unhappy with it. This data has definitely helped me to stay rational and logical with my approach, rather than like just seeing that the weight's gone up and being all emotional and, just binging on whatever I want to. That's not what I'm going to do. It's simply a case of keeping all the principles the same, slight drop in calories, but making sure that my execution is a little bit more intentional, shall we say. So after all that, I didn't even end up using the whiteboard that much, but that is our detailed 1 month review from the 2025 Summer Shred. I'm extremely hot and sweaty now, so I'm going to end this clip and I'll catch you in the next one. All right, guys, and with the review finished, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the video here. But before I do, I just wanted to go ahead and say, I understand the progress that I've shown today isn't exactly indicative of a lot of progress, and what I want to say is, what I really want to drill home is that just don't let that give you an excuse to give up. A lot of you have had maybe some poor habits with your food, poor habits nutritionally, or struggled with your weight for multiple years. You're not going to fix that within a month. It's going to take a significant amount of time to fix things, and you want to make sure that you fix it in a proper way. You want to fix the root cause of the issue. You want long-term behavioural change. Bear in mind, if you want to live a healthy and active lifestyle and have a physique that's reflective of that, it's going to take time, and it's going to take consistent daily small actions. It's not something that you can just do for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or however long, and then just go back to living your life as you were previously, because then you just go back to what you were doing. And me, I've always preached, I think in terms of fitness, I'm a very realistic person. I think my physique is obviously, I'm not shredded. You can see that I'm not shredded. I train in a way that I really enjoy and that I can stick with consistently. And I actually look forward to going to the gym, whereas most people would just force themselves to go do cardio 5-6 times a week, or even every day. And I'm just like, why would you want to live your life like that? You have to think really about what you want your life to look like, and if that includes, being in shape and having a good physique, your actions have to align with those intentions. If your actions don't align with your intentions, you can't really ever expect to get to where you want to go. I mean, just think about it that way. If your intention is to live a healthy and active life, you can't be eating McDonald's every day. You can't be shoveling down snacks every single night before you go to bed. It's just little things like that. It really is. Fat loss is so simple, but it's not easy. I always say this. I always find myself saying this to clients, because when I explain something to them, and quite often the response is, it actually does seem so simple now that you put it like that. And I'm like, well, it is simple, because it really is, but it's not easy. It's the consistency that will, really dictate your results, the long-term behaviours, the actions that you undertake on a daily basis. That's what's really going to determine your results. So yeah, if you ever find yourself on a journey like the one I'm on right now, on a fat loss journey, and you have a month that doesn't quite go to plan, just please don't let that be the reason that you stop. Make sure that you actually learn from it. You've got some data to go off of. You can actually, like, you know, take some actionable points from what you've done and move forwards with that. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I drilled home the message from today's video. So, by the way, you might have noticed, fresh haircut, you know how it goes. Nice t-shirt, because I'm actually spending today with the family. And whatever you're up to for the rest of your day, hope you have a good one. So, thank you so much for tuning in. Really do appreciate you taking the time to do so. That is a month of the summer shred down, and I'm really excited to see where we can go from here. Remember to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with the series. Once again, thanks so much for the support in the series. It's been absolutely amazing so far. So we'll be back with a new episode next week. See you in the next one. Peace.